Welcome to LawNext, where today we have a double header for you. Two different interviews are recorded live at ClioCon in October. In the first, I speak with Reagan Attle, who has been the Chief Marketing Officer at Clio since 2017. In a year in which Clio made the biggest acquisition in legal tech history with its $1 billion purchase of vLex, and in which Clio is aiming to dramatically expand its market and its use of AI, what are the challenges and opportunities for the person tasked with leading the company's global brand and marketing strategy? Stay tuned to hear Reagan's perspective. In the second interview, I sit down with Axelrod, Vice President of Payments and Financial Services at Clio. He fills us in on the two financial products unveiled at ClioCon: Clio Capital, a capital advance program offering law firms fast access to funds for growth or cash flow management, and Pay Later, a financing option for law firm clients to pay their legal bills in installments while the firm gets paid upfront. These are the last of a series of interviews I recorded at ClioCon. To hear the others, be sure to check this podcast feed. As for me, I'm Bob Ambrogi. This is LawNext, the podcast that features the innovators and entrepreneurs who are driving what's next in law. Before I get to any of that, please take a moment to hear from the sponsors who so generously support this podcast. Tired of software that doesn't speak your legal language? Case is the cloud-based legal practice management software that understands the unique challenges of workers' compensation, employment law, and insurance defense practices. Case helps your firm automate document workflows, track time with precision, and reconcile payments effortlessly. Stop wrestling with generic tools and start scaling your practice. Discover a practice management solution designed for you at meruscase.com. That's MERUSCASE.com. You didn't go to law school to waste time writing and responding to discovery requests. Never waste time on discovery again with BriefPoint. BriefPoint drafts your discovery responses and requests for documents within minutes of your first sign-in. BriefPoint is the most reliable discovery drafting solution on the market, and it works right out of the box. Get your first document drafted by going to briefpoint.ai and clicking Get Started. No credit card required. BriefPoint. Draft what matters, automate the rest. Now let's get to the first of my two conversations today with Reagan Attle.
All right, I'm here. This is Bob Ambrogi. I am here at ClioCon 2025, happening in Boston, Massachusetts. And this is another in the series of interviews I'm doing here. And I am sitting now with Reagan Attle, the Chief Marketing Officer of Clio. Reagan, how you doing?
Good to see you, Bob.
Always good to see you. Yeah.
The best time of the year for me.
Is it? Or the craziest?
Both.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I always say, so the times leading up, full of anxiety, full of work. It's just, you're prepping, you're in the zone. But when you're here for these 2 days and you get to see your favorite people, like thousands of our customers, it makes everything worth it. It is my two favorite days of the year.
Yeah. Unlike, I hate to say this, right, but it's okay to say it too because you're the Chief Marketing Officer, but it is unlike any other conference I go to. It still is after, and I'm one of the few surviving people who's been to every ClioCon up until this point. I don't even know, other than Jack, who else there is.
Joshua Lennon.
I don't think Joshua's been to everyone. I think he missed, I don't think it was the first one. Was he?
He missed. No, he was definitely at Clio was the first one.
Okay.
We might need to get Joshua to clarify
I'll have
that.
to ask Joshua about that.
But I'm pretty positive about Joshua. Right. And then Melanie Leonard, who I recently spoke to, who was a consultant for many years and then joined Clio. I ran into her. She said she's been to every single one.
Yeah.
So.
And Phil Brown, is he here this year?
Phil Brown's here, yeah.
Yeah, he's been to everyone, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so there's a few.
And who's sitting over here somewhere is Kevin O'Keefe. I think everyone but one, but the first one. I think he missed the first one. Or something like that. Anyway.
This is my night.
This is your night.
So I don't quite have the cachet.
Yeah. You've got that's pretty good. You're a veteran. That's pretty good. You're a veteran.
I missed all the Chicago ones.
Yeah. I can't help but think about where this company has come as we're sitting here. Again, we're speaking a little bit after the keynote, hour and a half keynote. Jack actually kept it to almost an hour and a half today, which is good.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. But covered a lot of stuff. And a lot of significant stuff. I mean, one of the biggest stories in legal tech, probably the biggest stories in legal tech this year, was Clio's acquisition of vLex, which encompasses Fastcase, which vLex had previously merged with. I wonder from your perspective, what does this mean to this company and really to the future of legal technology?
Yeah, I mean, the first word that comes to my mind is transformative. I think we've been on a journey. We've always been on a journey. I've been here for 9 years, as I said. It's 9 ClioCons, but it's also 9 years at Clio. And when I reflect, I think back, and I had just come off of maternity leave, and I thought I had a 6-month-old son, and I thought, well, I'll take this easier gig in my hometown, and just kind of work myself back into
the real job.
I worked myself back into a real job.
You did that, yeah.
What's kind of cool about that is I actually compare Clio to my son. He's 9 now, and I have a picture of him wearing this little baby onesie with a Clio logo on it, and now I have a picture of him as a 9-year-old boy with this gray Clio t-shirt, holding our dog, and like he looks like a teenager to me, but I'm a mom. Yeah. And it kind of speaks to that transformation of that journey, or what we should expect over years. And I just feel like Clio has always just thought of every year as, where are we going to grow? How are we going to service our clients better? How are we going to transform the way the industry works? How are we going to live our mission more? And it's been consistent. So I see vLex is, incredibly transformative and one of the biggest things we've ever done. But for me, pretty consistent with this constant journey of, how do we get better? How do we live our mission more? How do we service our clients better? And for us, there was just this real opportunity. And Jack spoke to you about this. He spoke about it in the keynote about, bringing together the business of law and the practice of law, and these two really important components of the way that lawyers work, into something that's going to make it easier for them. It's going to make it better for them. So, I think the acquisition size was substantial, but I think the substantialness of that size really speaks to the impact that we think it's going to have on the day-to-day customer base and our future customer base.
Yeah. Does getting bigger make your job easier or harder?
Harder. Definitely harder. But
you're better known. Everybody knows who Clio is now. You don't have that problem, right?
Yeah. It's just my job easier or harder. It's different.
Yeah.
I say harder because there's more complexity. Yeah. My team is substantially bigger. Thinking about the way that we do things is different. But what we're trying to do is ultimately the same thing, is bring Clio to people that need it. People see benefit from it. Yeah. And that's how we think about it. Is I think I've talked to you about this before, is our marketing is really rooted in what our customers tell us, what the market tells us. And that's changing, but that's not harder to try to understand.
Yeah.
I don't know, harder some days maybe is probably a better answer.
Well, I just think, again, 9 years ago, the legal profession was still debating the cloud.
Yeah.
And you were still having to kind of sell that message. And you might, to some extent, still have to sell it today, but to a lesser extent. You say, you're pointing, you're kind of going where your clients want you to go. To some extent, you're also been telling them where they should be going. The whole message of Clio from the beginning was, the cloud is the right place to be for law practice management. And even before you came aboard, Jack had to sell that idea. That wasn't an easily accepted idea. But I don't know where I'm going with this, except that it sounds like it's probably a little give and take, in a sense of following your clients, but also leading your customers, right?
Thank you for saying that, because one of the foundational parts of what Clio is and who Clio is still today is bringing thought leadership to this market, to help lead, to help guide, to help educate, to help lawyers do the things that they weren't trained to do in an easier way. And so we've always thought of ourselves as a guide. Yeah. And I think we've tried to invest in that in a really meaningful way, so we can provide value that way. And I I think what's different now is what we're guiding on. As you said, it was very much rooted in the cloud when I started in 2017. But that had been something we've been talking about since the inception of Clio. And now, we're going to have to guide on AI.
Yeah.
We're going to have to guide on just navigating the different demands of clients. It's changing, and we just have to, continue to change with it. So.
Yeah. When Clio started, it was very much focused on solo law firms. It expanded into smaller firms. It's been expanding in more recent years to mid-sized firms, and very decidedly this morning into the enterprise space with the launch of a whole new division focused on the enterprise space, and obviously the acquisition earlier this year of Sharedo. Certainly, I hear, and I know I've hear assurances from the company to the contrary, but I do hear from the market people express concern that Clio is losing its focus on its original market, on its original customers. What do you say to that?
I think it's certainly not our intentions, and Jack's talked about that, and we'll talk about that a lot. But I think it's also for us to prove that we won't. I very much believe that, I could say a lot of things right now about what we won't do. I think it'll show up in what we do. We are doing very deliberate things around creating a division within the company that is focused on enterprise, and a division in the company that's focused on our small firm clients. That's very deliberate. That's so we don't have to split brain our staff. So those problems remain problems for this segment that are potentially different than another segment. I think time will show folks that we can do both. We are setting ourselves up to do both, and hopefully that'll ease people's concerns. But I've been through this before.
At here or
at another companies, yeah. It is tough, but I think we've got the right foundations to be able to do it.
Yeah. So the proof is in the pudding, ultimately.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
I do believe that, but I think we'll see really quickly that will be a continued focus on us. Those are the solo small firm clients they're embedded the Wakefield stakes.
Yeah.
They're a very important segment for us.
Yeah.
And then we're bringing in a lot of expertise that know how large law firms work, how corporate law firms work, or corporate legal departments work, and we'll bring that along.
Yeah, I'm not a marketing expert. You are, but when I think about marketing, I often think about the kind of concept of kind of positioning, of kind of knowing your audience and focusing on that audience and building your product and your messaging and your thought leadership and everything else around that audience. As Clio becomes a company that serves every audience in legal, how do you do that? What's your positioning here?
Well, actually, today you can go to our website and you can see it. We actually have www.clio.com/enterprise. You'll start to see a glimpse of how we've started to approach a very different segment of the audience with very different needs, very different challenges that they're trying to solve, with different solutions, with a different brand, a different look and feel. We have to be able to speak to this audience differently, and we want to show up a bit differently to be able to bring the connection of our message to their specific types of needs. So we're heavily invested in doing that. We're splitting out our marketing team. So our marketing team also has a different enterprise focus as well as an SMB focus. There's different.
Will that still be under you, or is that?
It will be. Yeah. It means different types of events that we'll attend. It means different types of...
Will there be a Clio Enterprise Con?
You never know. You never know.
You're going to leave me hanging on that one?
I'm going to leave you hanging on that one.
Okay.
I'm going to leave you hanging on that one. But I think it's going to start with building a community.
Yeah. Building a community across...
Of the larger firms.
Of the larger firms.
Yeah. Just like we did with our small
firms. And is there a need to bring all of those different communities you serve together in some way, or are they disparate communities?
I think there's
getting philosophical here. I don't know.
I think there's a place for both, and that's a really I try not to give non-answers, but I think there's very specific times and places where they should be separate.
Yeah.
There's different products, there's different needs, there's different challenges, there's different, very different conversations that need to happen. Ultimately, legal professionals are trying to solve the same problems.
Yeah.
And where can they learn from each other? I think that's something that could be really unique and interesting, where Clio could bring together people of all types.
Yeah. So again, I think I said this, but Jack this morning announced the launch of an enterprise division, which was new to Clio, and really focusing on that market. He talked about embedding Vincent, the AI product that came from vLex, in that division for development purposes anyway. As you look ahead now at the next couple of years, I'm sure a big part of your mandate is to help drive that expansion into that market. What are the challenges to doing that? What are the big hurdles you have to overcome to really get a foothold in that market?
Yeah, I mean, we have a good foundation. vLex has made, has had some very incredible adoption with some really incredible customers to speak to, and certainly learning about the enterprise for me starts there. Is to talk to that enterprise. Sherry has been incredibly successful in the UK, and in the UK with global law firms, frankly.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of expertise in bringing to Clio, like I said, and part of that is the marketing team that they're bringing.
Yeah.
So I mean, listening, learning, talking, being on the ground.
Yeah.
That's the important parts of our job.
Yeah, it changes the competitive landscape a lot for you, because suddenly you're going up against a whole different assortment of companies, and companies that have been firmly embedded in that enterprise space for a long time in some cases.
Yeah.
In some cases, Harvey, just the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of different players up there. So I'm sure you must think about that and how you respond to that.
Yeah, we try to focus on our customers more than we focus on our competitors.
Yeah.
And really that
makes sense.
Because, because it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think there's interesting things that our competitors are doing, and I think there's things that we could learn or things that we would learn to not do, but honestly, and in no sense not dissimilar from the SMB market, we don't think a lot is a lot.
Yeah, yeah. What else is on your mind these days? What's taking your time?
What's taking my time? Well, you're catching me on, again, the busiest day of the year for sure. But the vLex, acquisition has been a big one. ShareDo prior to that was a big one. Learning that space already has been a big one. Prepping for ClioCon is a big one. We launched the Legal Trends report, which you should talk to Joshua Lennon about.
I am at some
a little
point.
bit later.
I got him scheduled. I haven't seen it yet. I mean, I know it was sent out, but I had a little busy schedule myself.
It's a good one this year. There's a new neuroscience study that we did in the LTR that really looks at technology, automation, and AI use, and what it does to lawyers' brains. And there's just some incredible stats. And I'm not going to tease it here. I'm going to tease it here, but I'm going to let you get into the details with Joshua. But it was, LTR is the Legal Trends report is one of my favorite projects, because it's data. It's really rooted in what our customers are doing, what the industry is telling us, and how we bring that in together and kind of learn and use that, frankly, to guide that thought leadership that I spoke to earlier.
Yeah. Well, not to butter you up, but I mean, it's again one of those innovations that Clio came up with to start doing this a number of years ago, that now everybody's doing it.
They are.
You get, if imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, then people grasp onto that idea in a big way, I think.
Yeah, we love that phrase at Clio. Yeah, no, I think it's picked up because it's facts.
Yeah.
It's data.
Yeah.
And it really, really is insightful, and it comes from multiple sources. So, some of it comes from the aggregated anonymous data in Clio, and some of it comes from us talking to our customers or just the legal industry as a whole. Some of it comes from actually interviewing them, and then now this year is coming from more of a neuroscience study. So there's, it's data. That's why it resonates.
Yeah. Well, Reagan, thank you so much for taking some time out of the busiest day of your year to sit and talk to me.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Bob, it's so great to have you here.
All right. Well, thanks.
Great.
Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thanks.
Yes.
I always enjoy speaking with Reagan Attle. Next up in the second interview in today's doubleheader, my guest is AJ Axelrod, Vice President of Payments and Financial Services at Clio, who talks about a new pay later option for law firms to offer their clients, and also a new option for law firms to get fast access to capital for growth or other purposes. But first, please take this opportunity to learn about the sponsors who so generously support this podcast. If you're a specialized law firm, your practice deserves more than one-size-fits-all software. Case is tailor-made for workers' compensation, employment and labor, and insurance defense firms who demand precision. Imagine cutting through administrative chaos with intelligent document management, laser-focused time tracking, and seamless billing. Case isn't just software. It's your firm's competitive edge. Transform how you practice law at meruscase.com. That's MERUSCASE.com.
The $10 million call doesn't always come during business hours. Sometimes it's 10 p.m. and there's no one there to answer. Eve AI Intake is the always-on system trusted by top plaintiff firms to capture every lead, qualify every case, and make sure the biggest opportunities never slip away. Firms like Mike Morse Law are already using Eve to handle after-hours calls and keep million-dollar cases from slipping away. Visit eve.legal/intake. That's eve.legal/intake so you don't miss the next $10 million call at 10 p.m.
Welcome back to today's LawNext doubleheader. The last two in a series of interviews are recorded live on the conference floor at ClioCon in October. Next up, AJ Axelrod, Vice President of Payments and Financial Services at Clio, to tell us about Clio's new pay later option for law firm clients and its new program to provide law firms with fast access to capital for growth or other purposes. Let's get to that conversation.
This is Bob Ambrogi, and this is another in the series of interviews I'm doing here at ClioCon 2025 in Boston, Massachusetts. I am sitting here now with AJ Axelrod. AJ, nice to meet you. We haven't really talked before.
Yeah, excited to be on here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's kind of start with, why don't you kind of tell us what you do and how you got here. You're fairly new to the company.
I'm 11 months in, so this is my first ClioCon. I watched virtually last year, and as amazing as virtual is, it doesn't compare to being in person. I'm the Vice President of Payments and Financial Services. So what does that mean? I lead the payments business, and as you heard in Jack's keynote, we are moving beyond just payments. So the launch of a firm as a pay later option for legal financing and capital to support all these law firms with their capital needs. They're small businesses, and small businesses are typically underserved with financial services. They're hard to navigate, they're confusing, and it takes you away from practicing law when you gotta go apply for them.
Yep.
So
Yep.
If we can make that easier, make our firms more successful, we want to be part of that.
Yeah. What was your background before you came to Clio?
What was I before I was Clio? I've done a variety of things, but I've spent my whole career at the intersection of software and financial services. I've been at MindBody, so sort of call it Clio for yoga studios and boutique fitness, and invested across the software space. And a no-brainer to be a part of a company like Clio if you get the opportunity.
Yeah. Did you have a particular interest in law, or was it the Clio that attracted you, or what was the?
I think first and foremost, I love vertical solutions, because they really matter to your user. And there's a lot of great verticals out there, but law is uniquely attractive. I think I could never articulate it as well as Jack, but if you believe in democracy, you believe in a functioning democracy, a functioning legal system or a better functioning legal system is part of that. So this is a vertical I certainly would want to be a part of.
Yeah. So you already alluded to this, but there were a couple of announcements in the fintech arena here at ClioCon, and one was this pay later feature that you're now offering. Can you kind of elaborate? What is it what is this product?
Yeah. So, let's start with the problem, right? Legal services are under-consumed. There's too many people who aren't getting access to legal services, and there's a lot of barriers to that. But one of them is, access to funds. Not the average American, and true in other parts of the world as well, simply does not have a lot of savings. Right. They don't have money for an emergency, and they have competing priorities. We live in a time, inflation's gone up recently. People are stressed financially, and so it leaves law firms in a position where they're becoming a creditor, whether it's payment plans or things like that, and that's taking away from valuable time doing client work. So pay later,
and taking away from the relationship in some cases. I mean, if the client isn't keeping up on the payments, then that
collections call is not a call you want to make. Right. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So pay later offers clients an option to choose that, and there's a variety of financing options available to them based on their unique situation. That can range, from short term to longer term, and the law firm gets paid upfront in full, and a firm takes on that risk of collecting over time. It's fully transparent, and important to us is that we're not putting a product out there that is predatory on that client. It's incredibly transparent, no compounding interest, no late fees. We think this is the right product to help close that gap, or as much as we can around access to the legal system.
Yeah. So who bears the cost of that? I mean, how does the law firm pay for that? Does the client pay for that?
The law firm pays a payments processing fee like they do today. The client gets presented, should they be qualified through underwriting, with typically 3 options, and it'll be really clear where it'll be let's just make up numbers, $1,000 with a 15% fee paid over 12 months in monthly installments. Super clear. And so they're going to bear that interest on it and pay on that schedule. And the law firm will get paid upfront less the processing fee, which is similar to them getting paid with a credit card.
Yeah. So how does this work in practice? I'm taking out a new client. I sent off a retainer agreement or something to them, maybe along with an invoice for a retainer amount. Or
So just like they get sort of any bill today, they would click on that pay button, and they're going to come to the Clio payments page. And there's a variety of payment methods available there. So there's debit cards, credit cards, you can pay by e-check. There's now also the option for pay later. They just click on that tile and go through the typical Affirm flow. If they happen to already have an account with Affirm, they'll authenticate with their phone number. They'll see their offers, they select one and complete their checkout. And if they don't have one, they can create an account with Affirm right there in product, see the offers available to them, and close. So it'll be just a seamless in-product experience, and the law firm can certainly advertise that they have this available, but this is about, to your point, taking away some of that awkward conversation. Just say this is my amount, it's up front, and you pay the way that's good for you.
Yeah. And are they approved right away, or I mean, what's the approval process?
It's instantaneous. They'll see the offers they qualify for. As you can imagine, not everybody qualifies for a loan, but this product has tremendous coverage, and the vast majority of people will see some really good offers.
Yeah. Does the lawyer know that this is happening? What's the lawyer sort of our insight into what's happening with the
first thing is it's an opt-in product.
Yeah.
So for anyone who wants to offer this product, you go into your Clio settings and turn it on. Go through the accepting of the terms of service, all that good stuff. At that point, it's instantly available, and on every time that page is to complete a purchase is there on the Clio payments page, they'll be able to click and pay.
Okay, and then they get a check from.
They get it in 2 days in their bank account.
Not a check, obviously. And are there any restrictions in any way on on the range of amounts available that it can be done
Yeah,
for?
all that is detailed in the product, and I don't want to give the exact number down and misspeak unintentionally. It goes up quite high.
Yeah.
And the interest ranges are in the same range as credit cards. So from about 15 to about 30%. The average credit card in the U.S. today is 22 to 24% APR.
Yeah.
So, in many cases, this is going to be a great product for those people who don't have access to credit, or who are just looking for something else, but is incredibly transparent as to what they're paying.
So I would assume we're at ClioCon, where there's a lot of talk about Clio's covering the full legal market these days.
Yeah.
But I assume this is more oriented toward the smaller firm end of the market in terms of the clients who are most likely to want to take advantage of an offer like this? Or
I think the way to think about it is not about the size of the firm, it's about the customer they serve.
Yeah.
Right? And this is definitely a product that fits that, consumer client archetype, a person. And so maybe you'll see that in immigration and family law and those kind of places. But, there are plenty of Clio users that are firms that are large in lawyer count or, Revit, however you want to measure it. But it's that they serve a lot of customers, not just that they serve big customers, big clients. And so, we think this is for anyone that thinks it's for their clients and would encourage them to turn it on.
Yeah. And is it turn onable as of now, or when
it is? Yeah. So it was turned on right before the keynote. We had signups within seconds of Jay mentioning it.
Yeah, and sure.
Yeah. So we've already seen transactions. Which is it's really great to see a product get an applause like that and actual traction. You do a job like this because you want to make a difference. And to see that reaction is just so rewarding.
Yeah, I was there. There was applause for that. Not the first company in the legal industry to do this, but it's significant that you're enabling it through Clio. The other announcement you made was Clio Capital.
Yes.
Which, as I understand it, is a yet to come product. It hasn't been launched yet, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So Clio Capital, I think, addresses the other side of difficulty in financing that law firms, they operate in a challenging business environment, right? There's long durations of lockup, like 90 days in many, or longer in some cases. Many of them want to grow. We've certainly seen a proliferation of advertising in the legal space. And as I think about Clio, we have Clio and how much it's grown over the years is an incredible set of tools for the business of law, operating your firm on a day-to-day basis. With vLex coming soon, now it's this practice of law, an incredible tool set. But tools alone don't solve all your problems. And Clio Capital is now providing those resources, the money, so that if you're a firm that is in a position to get financing that's good for you, we can make that easy. So you can be pre-qualified for a loan up to a certain amount, write in product, kind of move the slider back and forth, say, well, I don't need the full amount, I could take less, maybe see a lower rate, and make that application process and the repayment process seamless and easy, so you can get back to what you should be doing, which is serving clients, and if you're interested in it, growing your firm.
Are there any parameters around what this kind of capital can be used for, or
there's details that'll be available, but generally, I think the position we're taking is like, this is for you to decide how to grow your business.
Yeah. What do you anticipate would be the most likely use of it?
Yeah,
hardware, or
I think we're going to see a range of stuff. Yeah. I think we're going to see people that are in a growth phase where they're like, I want to invest in my office space, my advertising, and maybe I want to take on a few employees, but I don't know if I'll have the revenue to cover that yet. I want to take on a paralegal and accelerate my caseload, something like that. Or they want to spend it on advertising or growing their firm. I think there's going to be a lot of use cases, and the reality is, these small, particularly the smaller firms, they don't have great access to like capital markets.
Right.
And also, like, who wants to go to a bank and fill out a loan application and then go collect information and share it with the underwriter? We have all this information.
Yeah.
We know this about you, and why can't we just give you that optionality for you to take it when you need it at the best possible rate we can give it to you?
Yeah. Again, can you say anything about kind of the range of amounts that would be available under this, or is that entirely?
It'll range by customer.
Yeah.
So depending on your business, but we can be talking well into the six figures.
Yeah. And very interesting. And that is slated for launch sometime. Is it later this year, or when is that happening?
Yeah, hopefully later this year. With a product like this, you really want to make sure everything's perfect. Obviously, Clio, we take our standards very high, right? The bar is very high for us. I think on a product like this, it's exceptionally high. But yeah, we want this in people's hands before the end of the year.
Yeah. The last couple of years, I think, have seen greater attention to this sort of intersection of fintech and legal tech. And I mean, what you're talking about here today represents that very clearly. Do you have thoughts, having come into this? I mean, here's two things you've just launched. Are you working on continuing to expand those options? Are there other things on the horizon or the roadmap that
we're always thinking about?
Yeah.
I think financial services are big horizontal products, and many of them are mandatory type use products, right? Whether it's paying your taxes, running payroll, buying insurance, all of these things that exist along with what we've just talked about. The question for us is can we take what's proven and used and deliver it better in a way that's contextually specific? And what do I mean by that? It means in a way that fits legal services, not just the bank's product or some financial service company, and is introduced to you in the right time, in the right way. That's the thesis behind this is, this is a market that's been underserved, not because it's not attractive, quite the opposite. It's an incredibly attractive market. But it's one where there's just been this disconnect.
Yeah.
And we can bridge that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a disconnect that goes way back because, I mean, even the whole question of just enabling payments is a relatively recent phenomenon in the legal tech world, oddly enough. And there's still lots of lawyers who want their checks mailed in through U.S. Postal Service.
Fewer than before.
Fewer than before.
But yes.
It's still happening.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
We're going to try to make that as few as possible. But yeah, we're in a moment of change. And I think, there's a narrative, who knows if it's true, that, legal service lawyers have been slow to adopt technology. I don't think that's a broadly fair statement, but certainly with AI, it's accelerated, I think, the way we think about change when embracing technology. And I think that's just a great thing for legal services. Because as we heard in Jack's keynote, if it's $1 trillion market as it is today, but it's $3 trillion unserved, that means, collectively, there's a long way to go on Clio's mission of transforming legal services for all. And hopefully technology can accelerate that.
Yeah. Understanding various regulatory restrictions, I assume that what you're doing is based in the United States or pretty much limited to the United States at this point, or are there international components to it as well?
There will be international components. We're launching first in the US. Our partners, just like us, take the compliance, whether it's to security standards, regulatory standards, whatever it may be, we take it incredibly seriously. We only work with first-rate partners. And we will, I think, always try to appropriately balance being thoughtful and judicious, but also getting, valuable resources in our customers' hands. And so I don't think that has to be an either or choice. I think we can do both. Yeah.
And do you think both of those will eventually launch in other jurisdictions?
It will absolutely launch in other jurisdictions, and hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah.
I did do that.
Okay. I've been asking you a lot of questions. Anything else on your mind? Anything else you're thinking about these days?
I mean, I'm always thinking about our financial services. Bob, I think it's exciting to be here to see this transformation. You talked about the adoption of payments, and an interesting one for you that, I don't know that I appreciated till a couple days ago. Over 70% of ClioCon attendees are already on Clio payments. And so that adoption of moving to digital payments is it's not a slow march. It's been
Yeah.
moving quickly, sort of underneath the surface.
Yeah.
And the days of the check are diminishing quickly. Checks are compounding down, go down about 6% year over year, 6 to 8%. So I think we're seeing a day that coming soon where it's really almost all transactions are digital,
Yeah.
and that's super exciting to me.
Yeah, it was completely accelerated by the pandemic.
Yes, it was.
And nobody wanted to have to go put something in the mail anymore, and
Yeah.
and nobody wanted to have to go to the post office and get the mail. So,
but what about you? Like, what when you think about everything you heard related to financial services, like what jumps out to you for like ClioCon this year?
I think what I was actually just talking to Jack a little bit ago. I mean, what's really so dramatic about ClioCon this year is this convergence that everybody's been. I mean, he talked about it last year. The convergence of the business of law and the practice of law, and then AI is sort of the glue that pulls that all together, holds that all together. But both the technology supports practice of law and the technology supports business law have both been evolving dramatically in recent years. And I really feel like I thought his keynote was fantastic yesterday. I've been to every ClioCon. I thought it was the best keynote he's ever given, and not just because of what he said, but because of what it represents in terms of the moment we're in right now. And so fintech is a big part of that, and nobody talked about fintech and legal tech until the pandemic. LawPay has been around for a long time, and for a long time that was it. They were the only game in town, and nobody really thought much about it. And it's really just been the last couple of years that's become such a critical component. Everybody's understand the importance of that as a critical component. So exciting times.
Yeah, it
as
is.
you say. But well, AJ, thanks a lot. I really appreciate talking to you. Great to meet you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to share your own thoughts or comments, you can email me, ambrogi@gmail.com, or just message me on LinkedIn or other social media. If you're a fan of the show, please leave us a review wherever you get it. LawNext is a production of LawNext Media. I'm your host, Bob Ambrogi. I hope you'll join us again next time for another episode of LawNext.